some dare call it conspiracy, with Brent Lee and Neil Sanders. This is Pizzagate, episode 2, with our guest, Joel Hill, from the Conditional Release Program podcast.
What happened though was David Goldberg. So you remember the guy that was the supposed Jewish lawyer? He's now got hold of these Subject Politics and True Pundit articles, and he's spreading them all over Twitter as proof that he's correct. Now, on the same day, someone quite interesting actually gets involved and retweets the True Pundit story. And from this point, they become a major player in the dissemination of this information. And that's General Michael Flynn. Now, some people may know General Michael Flynn, he's was involved with the Trump administration. What a lot of other people don't know is that he was involved with the Mercers and Cambridge Analytica. He was on the board of Cambridge Analytica, and in Cambridge Analytica is, and I don't wish to colour the narrative up front, but Cambridge Analytica is a internet manipulation and deception tool that targets an audience with stories that they feel will really, really appeal to them. And the long and short of it is to smear candidates in order to get you to vote in the opposite direction, essentially. Yeah. But it's very interesting that General Michael Flynn, who's involved in such programs and such types of things, was involved with Pizzagate so very, very early on.
Yeah. There's such a random niche little thing. How did he even come across it?
Mm-hmm. As far as we can see, or as far as he would admit, he just stumbled across this white supremacist account on Twitter. Actually, that's worse. Now I'm saying that out loud. and felt that the information from this white supremacist account was salient enough for him to tacitly endorse it.
It's just one of the things I follow, just in a weekend. Don't worry about it.
Yeah, absolutely.
I follow a wide range of people.
Exactly.
And this is it. We're free speech absolutists. We're not trying to cultivate an audience. Anyway, on the 2nd of November 2016, so the same day that Michael Flynn gets involved, another white supremacist called Jared Wyand, and I don't know why there's all these white supremacists. Well, I do, but
you do.
Yeah. You already know how this ends.
Anyway, he put a code that he'd suddenly now. He says that he'd figured it out, or he's never actually really explained why he felt it, but he published it on Twitter and 4chan at almost exactly the same time. And apparently this is a code whereby if you were to replace certain phrases or words in emails, they suddenly are illuminated to make far more sense. So the point was that these pedestrian emails seem to be talking a lot about food, pizzas and pastas and things like that. Fine, on the surface, that seems perfectly legitimate. But what Jared Wyand had discovered was that actually there was a hidden meaning to these words. So hot dog actually meant boy. Pizza meant girl. Cheese meant little girl. Pasta meant little boy. Ice cream was a male prostitute. Walnut referred to a child of colour. Map, for some reason, meant semen. And sauce was the code word for orgy. So with that in mind, all of a sudden, all these supposedly innocent emails that were just talking about pizzas with sauce and stuff like that are actually referring to orgies with little girls or that type of thing. And on the same day, Mike Cernovich posted one of the emails.
I'm dreaming about your hot dog stand in Hawaii.
And this was an email that was sent to John Podesta. And Mike Cernovich says that this is code for sex trafficking. So if we use the code, what it's saying is, I'm dreaming about your boy stand in Hawaii. Now, one can assume that a boy stand is some sort of brothel or some sort of, I don't know, maybe it's a stand, maybe like it is a front where you go and buy your children.
Yeah, selling kids.
Yeah. But anyway, we can see that this is all starting to build a picture. Now, on November the 2nd, for the first time, InfoWars gets involved. Thank God. Like, so, but it's not actually Alex or even Owen or any of the. No, it's not them that bring the story to the table. It's somebody that I'd not actually heard of before. Some bloke called Douglas Hagman. Now, he's got a website called the Hagman Report. He's evidently far better known than I was aware of. And he basically claimed to have some sort of insider knowledge. He says that he claims that the email showed Hillary on the Lolita Express and that he knew an NYPD task force member. And so he'd got the inside skinny, essentially.
And what date was this again? Sorry?
This was November the 2nd, 2016. We're talking days before the election. So this, Hillary was a shoo-in. Nobody in their right mind thought that Trump had any chance at all, even at this point. Like, that's what's interesting is you go back and watch InfoWars and stuff like that. They're already setting it up prior to the election. And this is interesting to say that the election has been rigged and stolen. But furthermore, what they go on to say is that if Trump does win by any stretch of the imagination, that Hillary will claim that the election was stolen from her. So they don't know what's going to happen. They're setting it up. Now, what's interesting is at the time, Alex Jones was actually part of the Trump campaign. Also, the McMahons of WWE fame, they were part of the Trump campaign, which explains his sort of bombastic thing. Somebody pointed this out to me like a while ago, a friend of mine, Billy Ray Valentine. Donald Trump has taken on the attributes of Stone Cold Steve Austin. Like, seriously,
not the physical attributes.
Not the physical attributes, no. Obviously, but or the beer drinking, but that sort of anti-establishment hero. Apparently, I'm not massively au fait with the characterization, but he's a sort of good heel, if that makes any sense. Apparently, the people that know about wrestling, when they've put this to them, have gone, oh yeah, no. Apparently, that's pretty accurate. So the other thing that was really, really fascinating watching old InfoWars is how incredibly pro-Putin it is. There's whole sections dedicated to how Putin is actually a really, really good guy. Mostly because he hates immigrants. And it's really interesting to watch Putin tell this story. Again, see if any of this sounds familiar. 15-year-old boy, immigrant, rolls up in a town, rapes some local. Now, it's that story again and again and again. He's not even specific as to where it is because it's just a trope. It's just one of these things where they can use this to smear all immigrants.
Mm-hmm. Insert location here.
Yeah, precisely. In fact, we're seeing exactly that as the excuse for the riots in Merseyside at the moment.
Yeah.
We've seen it constantly. That this is your go-to sort of excuse. Like, it's not that we're racist. It's not that we're intimidated by brown people or foreigners or that we feel disenfranchised. No. It's because we're concerned about the children. Like, we're concerned about the children. Like, when they're being raped by brown people. Not when they're being raped by white people. That's just natural selection or whatever, right? But it's when they're raped by foreigners, that is where it becomes a real problem.
Well, that's preventable.
Yes.
White person rape is inevitable. We have to live with that because that's
absolutely.
That's
this is the thing.
Is it white privilege?
It's white privilege, yeah.
It kind of fucking is, isn't it? Oh man, I feel gross even saying that.
Anyway, there's some fascinating quotes from Alex on this one. He says, one of the strong opening to the show.
Hillary Rodham Clinton is the #1 communist Chinese agent in the world, and the WikiLeaks all show that, and she's in direct contact with the president of China doing his bidding.
And I know that might sound like hyperbole, but he has actually got some evidence to back it up.
And that's why she wears 1960s Maoist-era outfits, silk outfits from China.
And you have to admit, like, when he points it out, that yes, she does look very much like a young Mao.
A Maoist suit. This reminds me very much of one of the Corbyn smears that he had a Maoist bicycle.
Oh, did he? Oh, wow. Yeah, like a fixie or something?
I don't even know what he meant. And I was like, wait, what?
Marvelous. But first off, he brings on Steve Pieczenik. Now, Steve Pieczenik is sometimes one of these people that sounds like he's quite sensible, and then give it 30 seconds, and he'll shoot down any sort of preconceptions that you had about him actually not being completely batshit. But anywho, he says that they definitely do have dirt on Aberdeen, Podesta, and Hillary Clinton, but he doesn't say what. But he says that if Trump loses, that they should definitely claim that the election is rigged, maybe even have a protest. Now, I don't know whether that some people put a pin in that suggestion.
Very prophetic.
He also then goes to say that Hillary has definitely got Parkinson's disease, and if she doesn't resign, then she will be charged with bribery and RICO. And again, he doesn't quite explain why. Then Joseph Farah comes on. Now he's connected to the WND, which is also connected to ALEC and Koch brothers and stuff like that. But apparently he's somebody to be listened to. And he points out that if Hillary Clinton loses, she's definitely going to jail. And you've got to appreciate at the time they were expecting Hillary to win this big.
Yeah.
And that was the whole point. Even Trump expected to lose. The point was that he could rally against the obviously unfair system. He was going to set up a television company, not dissimilar to One American News Network. He was going to set that up. And essentially the selling point of it was, look how hard done to I am. Like, you can't get a free election here. And then he only went and bloody won. And the only person that thought he was going to win ever was Steve Bannon.
See, this is also the thing that like really threw me through a loop.
Yeah.
I was absolutely convinced it was going to be Hillary.
Yes.
Because that is the New World Order puppet, right?
Yeah.
You know, as myself, as a truther at that time, like, of course it's not going to be Trump. Like, leaders are selected, not elected.
Yeah.
Every election, the result is already planned.
Yeah.
Of course it's going to be Hillary.
Of course.
And when it wasn't, that just threw me through a loop because I saw actually like it was people power that put him in.
Yeah.
You know, he actually did convince people to vote for him. And like it showed me like votes actually fucking worked.
Yeah.
For the first time in my life.
Interesting.
Well, this is the point, because you had people like Alex Jones and David Icke say you can always predict who's going to win the election because of their connections to the British royal family. So whoever has got the strongest familial connection, you know, they're a shoo-in. And that just didn't happen. It didn't happen. I mean, there were some people that basically went, well, you do know that Donald Trump is also vaguely connected and related to these same people and whatnot. But very soon people just went, yeah, but Donald Trump's a good guy. He's on our side.
He says awful shit. He's great.
Yeah, it's bizarre, isn't it? But, you know, but again, we're in a time where, you know, Alex Jones is praising Putin because he's saying you shouldn't let brown people into the country. They'll rape people. So, you know, this is the problem, isn't it? You know, when you're in it and when you're very, very close to it, you think, well, that might sound bad. Or you won't even think that. You'll think that, you know, of course you've got to say that because we're opposed to an enemy. Yeah. Whatever it is that you're saying or whatever it is that you're doing, it's justified because the opposition is worse. So this is the slippery slope. And this is the thing that we're seeing now, like, again, because the far right likes to prey on the disenfranchised. People who are looking for answers. They give them easy answers and then they do a bait and switch, basically. Like, they'll start off by saying something along the lines of, well, look at this, you've got corrupt individuals and stuff like that that are sharing child pornography or like backhanders or lobbying or whatever. And you go, okay, it's very difficult to argue with that. And then on the third or fourth meeting, they'll say, have you ever noticed there's an awful lot of Jews involved in this? And and that's the bait and switch, isn't it? Mm-hmm. But anywho, so InfoWars, and then suddenly Doug Hagman appears on screen looking all silver foxy.
Right now, the mood inside Justice, well, inside the FBI, not Justice, inside the FBI office right now at the Hoover building is extremely tense. You've got the upper echelon of the FBI that's fighting against the rank and file members. The rank and file are just absolutely upset over what's going on.
And he goes on to explain
they actually took not just a laptop, but they also took files off of a desktop inside the Wiener's residence, as well as physically took the router.
And he explains, like he says,
there's like three different parts to this, three different moving parts to this. You've got the classified, top secret, special access programs. Those files that were on Anthony Weiner's computer without fail, that's been verified by my source. And they said that's the least of the issues. Another aspect of this is the treason espionage part of this. And I know how bad that sounds, Alex, but there's some indication that, and this is why they took the router, is that other downloads of the documents, and I'm talking about the top secret special access program documents that were in the 656,000 emails on Weiner's computer, were offloaded to yet a third party. Well, who's that third party? It could very well be Huma's relations, if you will, or it could be her associates.
And so what he's suggesting here is that essentially Humour Abedin's mother is not some sort of, well-meaning elderly Muslim lady involved in charities. She's a sleeper cell agent of some sort of international terrorist conglomeration, and that maybe some of this important information about the US government might have made it into her hands from via Humour Abedin, who we can't trust because, and you must remember, because this is the most important point, well, she's Muslim, isn't she?
Exactly.
And there's no smoke without fire. This is what they are saying. But the third and the most disgusting aspect is the sexual angle.
I was told it ties into Lolita Express. Is that where you're about to go?
Yes. It involves Hillary Clinton, Huma Abedin, and Bill Clinton as well, with Jeffrey Epstein.
Oh, my God.
So Alex is probing. He wants more clarification. He says,
what did NYPD tell you? What's on there? Because what I was told was, and I've seen it hinted by intelligence people, that it's Lolita Express, it's kids.
Well, yes, it's kids. It involves the Saudis. It involves the Saudis. It involves people from the Middle East, very big money interest from the Middle East, and it involves Hillary, Huma, and to a lesser extent, Weiner was just kind of a prop, if you will.
And basically, he implies very, very strongly that the evidence is shown on the laptop that Weiner was actually getting children for Bill, Epstein, and Humour and Hillary. So he was almost like a pimp for these people.
Or a recruiter. That's why he was sending out random dick pics.
Yeah, because this is what you do. If you're involved in international child sex ring, you want to draw attention to yourself by sending random women pictures of your penis. But essentially what it's doing is he's doing what Ghislaine did for Epstein.
Right, yeah.
Essentially. Okay. Like he's acting as a sort of go-between, and he's providing the girls that would later be exploited by Epstein, Humour, Hillary, and Bill. So, huge if true, I think is the expression. So that's Douglas Hagman, and that's actually the first time that InfoWars mentioned this. On November the 4th, Eric Prince, who is the brother of Betsy DeVos and also the head of Blackwater mercenary organization.
They're related. Fuck.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
I had no idea that was a link there.
No, they're brother and sister.
Fascinating. This
is the thing. This is the nexus that sort of connected to that thing, because they're all sort of vaguely connected to a think tank called the Heritage Foundation. Well, not vaguely connected, they're all members of the Heritage Foundation and the Council for National Policy. That includes people like Pence, half of Trump's entourage and administration, Bannon, Kellyanne Conway, the Mercers, and all that type of people. So this is where the sort of the bleed through gets to Cambridge Analytica. Sorry, Cambridge Analytica is like my sort of like pet thing that I really, really so any opportunity to tie it back to something, no matter how vague, I will take that opportunity. So
I'll take it, man. This is a great episode. I'm loving this.
Good, thank you. So he did an interview with Breitbart. Breitbart, obviously, again, owned by the Mercers and Steve Bannon after the untimely death of Andrew Breitbart. And he basically says that they found a lot of damning criminal information, including money laundering and the fact that Hillary went to the sex island with Jeffrey Epstein. And they repeat the claims that Bill went more than 20 times. Now, on the same day, General Michael Flynn, also a member of the Heritage Foundation and the CMP, retweets this article from Breitbart with a very, very interesting hashtag. The hashtag simply says spirit cooking.
Wow.
The article, which says,
NYPD ready to make arrests in Anthony Weiner case. Because of Weinergate and the sexting scandal, the NYPD started investigating it. Through a subpoena, through a warrant, they searched his laptop, and sure enough found those 650,000 emails. They found way more stuff than just more information pertaining to the inappropriate sexting the guy was doing, Prince claimed. They found State Department emails. They found a lot of other really damning criminal information, including money laundering, including the fact that Hillary went to this sex island with convicted pedophile Jeffrey Epstein. Bill Clinton went more than 20 times. Hillary Clinton went there at least 6 times, he said. The amount of garbage that they found in these emails of criminal activity by Hillary, by her immediate circle, and even by other Democratic members of Congress was so disgusting they gave it to the FBI. And they said, "We're going to go public with this. And if you don't reopen the investigation and you don't do the right thing with timely indictments," Prince explained. Weiner and Huma Abedin, his wife, the closest advisor of Hillary Clinton for 20 years, have both flipped. They are cooperating with the government.
So Eric Prince is basically saying that Aberdeen and Weiner have already flipped, and the information on this laptop is enough to send Hillary Clinton to prison for a very long time. Now, on the same day, InfoWars repeats the Eric Prince article, so the one that we've just read from Eric Prince. And summarizing it, Alex Jones says, "When I think about all the children Hillary Clinton has personally murdered and chopped up and raped," yeah, you heard me, Hillary Clinton has personally murdered children. So, bold claims from Alex Jones there. Has anyone read his text messages, by the way?
Yeah.
He refers to bodybuilding as slaying, but more often than not, he gets in touch with his personal trainers. "Can't slay today, I'm too ill. But if you could pop by with a bottle of vodka, that'd be ace."
They're amazing.
Yeah.
What did you say? Salacious.
Salacious. Yeah, they are salacious. They're fabulous. So, Alex Jones, as we know, he's not one to just mouth off.
No.
Or come to things like with a lack of knowledge. He's clearly sort of researched this, and the research appears to have come from Paul Joseph Watson of Brain Force fame, and 5 o'clock in the morning shouting that, who was it? Was it Lauren Southern that wouldn't sleep with him or something like that? Yeah.
But how does he really feel about the Jews? That's my question. I just don't know. I find it hard to figure out.
There might be a recording for you to find out.
Look, it would help for some clarity, just so I can know.
Right. So, Paul Joseph Watson puts out an article called "Spirit Cooking. Clinton Campaign Chairman Practices Bizarre Occult Ritual, Menstrual Blood, Semen and Breast Milk. Most Bizarre WikiLeaks Revelation Yet."
Sorry, what day is this?
This is November the 4th, 2016.
Okay, can we go back? What date did Mike Flynn tweet hashtag spirit cooking?
Mike Flynn, on the same day.
On the same day?
On the same day.
Oh.
On the same day, Michael Flynn, November the 4th, he tweets the Eric Prince article with the hashtag spirit cooking. And on the same day...
There's no such thing as coincidences.
Absolutely not. And so on the same day, basically, so you've got Breitbart and you've got InfoWars and you've got General Michael Flynn on Twitter talking about spirit cooking or alluding to spirit cooking. So... in the article, it has that very famous picture of Marina Abramovich, and she's holding a goat skull. I think she's wearing a red dress or something like that. A lot of people have attributed this to Baphomet worship or something that's satanic, essentially. The picture is actually taken from a 2014 Vogue shoot. but again, it's the one that's used quite often. Anyway, the article goes on. It says, Clinton campaign chairman was invited to a spirit cooking dinner by performance artist Marina Abramovich to take part in an occult ritual founded by Satanist Aleister Crowley. Well,
Wow.
it's got me hooked right from the off.
Okay.
And it highlights an email that was found in the WikiLeaks. And this was actually sent to Tony Podesta. Tony Podesta is the brother of John Podesta. And John Podesta is, I believe, the campaign manager for Hillary Clinton. He's the person whose emails were all hacked. And this is where basically we're getting these code words and such. And the email says, I'm so looking forward to the spirit cooking dinner at my place. Do you think you will all be able to let me know if your brother is joining? All my love, Marina. Then Tony Podesta actually emailed John Podesta. Says, are you in New York City on Thursday, July the 9th? Marina wants you to come to dinner. Now, he says that spirit cooking refers to a sacrament in the religion of Thelema, which was founded by Aleister Crowley and involves an occult performance during which menstrual blood, breast milk, urine and sperm are used to create a painting. Now, Thelema is the concept of will. It's this idea that you can create things with your own willpower. I've massively oversimplified it, but this is the religion of Thelema. It was, I think he went to Italy, or was it Sicily, to set up a temple there, and it got pretty wacky. They were doing lots of drugs. I think somebody died from drinking infected cat's blood, as you do. Strange old time. Anyway, the actual sort of ritual of the spirit cooking, you can piece it together from the pictures that she actually did. It's a supposed sort of spell type recipe, and it reads:
mix fresh milk from the breast with fresh milk of the sperm. Drink on earthquake nights. On your knees, clear the floor with your breath. Inhale the dust. Wash your bed sheets in lemon juice. Cover the pillow with sage leaves. With a sharp knife, cut deeply into the middle finger of the left hand. Eat the pain. Facing the wall, eat 9 red hot peppers. Take uncut 13 leaves of green cabbage with 13,000 grams of jealousy. Steam for a long time in a deep iron pot till all the water evaporates. Eat it just before attack. Fresh morning urine sprinkle over nightmare dreams.
So, it's an eclectic recipe, certainly.
I don't know, man. I think I've heard that one on the Bake Off.
Exactly. There you go. Was it? It wasn't on the episode where he wore the Bill Cooper shirt, was it?
Yeah. Actually, I think it might have been. No.
Well, there you go.
Your votes, or would it lose your votes? I don't know. Is that a popular angle to go for with the SMS texting and the voting? I don't think you'd win the crowd. I just don't think you'd win the crowd in that one.
So, Paul Joseph Watson continues. Abramovich paints in blood with a sharp knife cut deeply into the middle finger of your left hand and eat the pain. And Mike Cernovich apparently states that this is what is chanted during sex cult rituals. I don't know how he knows this, whether he's whether he's partaken or whether he's just happened to be walking past and overheard it. But anyway, he continues. He says that the ceremony is meant to symbolize the union between the microcosm, man, and the macrocosm, the divine, which is a representation of one of the prime maxims in Hermeticism, as above, so below. Another image shows Abramovich posing with a bloody goat's head, which is a representation of the occult symbol Baphomet. And some are even linking the spirit cooking revelations to claims that the Podesta email contained codes for child sex trafficking. Others are connecting it to Laura Silsby, The missionary, who was jailed for 6 months after her organisation, New Life Children's Refugee, attempted to smuggle 33 children out of Haiti into the Dominican Republic after the 2010 earthquake. WikiLeaks revealed that Hillary's top aide, Humour Abedin, forwarded numerous articles about NLCR, the New Life Children's Refugee Organisation, to Clinton. Now, this is a woman called Laura Silsby. It's fairly self-explanatory. She was part of an organisation to help orphan children following the earthquake. And there was a suggestion that some of these children that were actually taken to this orphanage across the border were taken improperly and or it wasn't properly sourced and that their parents were actually still alive, essentially. So that's apparently come up in the WikiLeaks. There's some connection between Hillary Clinton or Humour Abedin and Laura Silsby in that. Now, it goes on to describe spirit cooking recipes. One of them says, spit inside your navel until the lake is filled. Lie motionless and listen to the heartbeat of a dog. And Paul just thinks that's
sorry.
It's weird shit.
Yeah, this is
it's really weird shit.
It certainly is weird.
It sounds like maybe lyrics to some of the music you listen to, Neil.
It does. It does have a sort of weird sort of metally or black metal sort of type thing that's going off with this. But yeah, essentially that is the concern of Paul Joseph Watson, that this is all connected to Aleister Crowley, and that why on earth should people who are connected to the Hillary Clinton be entertaining this in any way? But what he's suggesting is that there's some sort of occult reason for this dinner practice going off, and that anyone that's involved in that is essentially taking part in some sort of a ritual. And again, huge if true.
And that is a wrap for now. Join us next week as we continue down the Pizzagate rabbit hole. You can gain access to this entire series on day one of release by joining our Patreon for only $5 a month. Included in this package are 4 of Neil's books, my entire discography, early access to episodes, Patreon-only episodes, and a PDF of Headache Comics 4, courtesy of Nicholas C. Gray. You can also support us by subscribing, sharing, liking, or leaving a review wherever you are listening to us. And please follow us on Twitter @SomeDarePodcast. Thank you for listening.